On June 9, 1983, U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Wayne M. McDonald turned in a report to the commander of the U.S. Army Operational Group at Fort Meade, Maryland, titled Analysis and Assessment of Gateway Process. For over 20 years, the document remained classified until its declassification on September 10, 2003. The document goes into great detail about the nature of our universe and our existence, all in an effort to explain what the gateway process is and how it could be used by the military. And that is exactly what they did. There's more to our reality than we've been told, folks. And if this episode doesn't open your eyes to what's really going on in the world, then I fear nothing will.
Are you not curious?
Preparing to transfer the Ryan files. Now.
I present to you, with great intrigue and wonder, the Ryan files.
In his opening letter to the commander, Lieutenant Colonel McDonald of the U.S. Army Intelligence and Security Command outlines the process he used to understand the gateway process, how it works, and why. Now, the best way to begin would simply be to define what the gateway process is. This is easier said than done, but let's try. The Monroe Institute, who call themselves the world's leading educational center for the study of human consciousness, developed a technique over 40 years ago for achieving altered states of consciousness called the gateway experience. In order to accomplish these altered states of consciousness, brain hemisphere synchronization, or hemisync, is achieved by taking advantage of frequency following response. Now that's a lot to digest, so let me break it down. Most of you know there is a difference between our left brain and our right brain. The left side of the brain is associated with science and mathematics, logic, linear thinking, and language. It also controls the right side of the body. Now, if the left brain is considered the logical side, then the right side is seen as the creative side. The right brain is linked with intuition, auditory and visual processes, the arts, and holistic thinking. It also manages the left side of the body. So we've all heard of brain waves. Most of the time, our right and left brain operate independently of each other. The brainwave frequency of our right brain may be higher than that of our left brain. But what happens when we get the two halves connected? That is what hemisync is all about. Now, as I said before, this is accomplished by taking advantage of the frequency following response, which is rather fascinating. When a human hears a sound that is at a frequency that matches one of those associated with the operation of the human brain, the brain will try to mimic the same frequency pattern by adjusting its brainwave output. For example, 639 Hz is a sound frequency recognized by the brain that allows you to tap into love, compassion, and empathy. If you were to listen to a sound signal at 639 Hz, you would feel more love, compassion, and empathy. Pretty cool. Now imagine exposing the left ear to a certain frequency that is 10 Hz below another audible frequency in the right ear. What would happen? Well, rather than hearing either of the two audible frequencies, the brain chooses to hear the difference between the two. This is called the beat frequency. Now, without going through all the crazy nerdy science, the results of this are quite remarkable. In essence, the two different frequencies work together to produce a specific result. To relax the left hemisphere of the brain, place the body in a virtual sleep state, and bring the left and right hemispheres into coherence under conditions designed to promote the production of ever higher amplitude and frequency of brain output.
This is your exercise to achieve Focus 10, the 10 state, where your mind remains awake and alert and your physical body is deeply asleep. My voice should be in your right ear at this moment. If not, turn your headphones around so that you are hearing my voice in your right ear.
Most people's brain frequency output can be described as a flashlight. The gateway process was designed to turn that flashlight into a laser. The gateway process is the toolbox that anyone can use to alter their consciousness, and when practiced over time, develop some amazing science fiction sounding abilities. And this is where it gets weird real quick. You see, the gateway process simply would not work in a universe that most of us believe we live in. Simple things. I have a body. I can eat an apple. I drive a car to work. These are the things we believe to be true in our conscious mind. But what if our conscious mind isn't telling us the reality of our existence? Quantum mechanics is a fundamental theory that describes the behavior of nature at and below the scale of atoms. It's the foundation of all quantum physics. What's that have to do with anything, you ask? Well, in the simplest of terms, quantum mechanics shows us that our universe is really just oscillating energy grids surrounded by other oscillating energy grids which orbit at extremely high speeds. These energy grids vibrate at certain frequencies. The point to be made here is that the entire human being, brain, consciousness, and all is like the universe which surrounds us all. Nothing more or less than an extraordinary complex system of energy fields. Moreover, energy creates, stores, and retrieves meaning in the universe by projecting or expanding at certain frequencies in a three-dimensional model that creates a living pattern called a hologram. Basically, the universe is just energy and holograms, and we perceive it the way we do because that's our base consciousness. The gateway system involves focusing the brain's energy to transcend the base consciousness and reality. And in doing so, an individual can not only perceive the universe from a different level or perspective, but also transcend time and space, experience other dimensions, and actually travel beyond the confines of the human body.
Now move your body into a relaxed position, free of points of strain, as you listen to the sound of natural power in the ocean surf.
Now, before I go any further, let me remind you that all of this information was presented in 1983 by the U.S. Army to provide an assessment of the gateway experience in terms of its mechanics and ultimate practicality. Now, moving forward, let's get into the nuts and bolts of the gateway process. And for the record, let me tell you, I purchased the audio tapes of the gateway process to study them firsthand. I've not used the stereo headphones required for the process to be effective, and I have not listened to the long periods of tones that admittedly include subliminal messaging. It's all a bit creepy, to be honest. So let's dive in. The first audio tape starts with just getting you ready and adapted to the process. During the session, you are taught to visualize and create an energy conversion box in which you place all your extraneous concerns, thoughts, issues, and problems. Basically, the goal is to create a free, open, and empty mind.
Move now to your energy conversion box. Move to your energy conversion box and raise the heavy lid. Place in the box all of your physical matter, worries, anxieties, and concerns. You won't need them during the exercise, and they will simply get in the way. When you have them all in the box, close the heavy lid tightly and turn away from your energy conversion box. Do this now.
There are several sessions of breathing techniques in tune with a weird humming sound, and finally the gateway affirmation, which is to be repeated several times along with the audio tape.
Say in your mind, say to yourself, I am more than my physical body. Because I am more than physical matter. I deeply desire to expand, to experience, to know, to understand, to control, to use such greater energies and energy systems as may be beneficial and constructive to me and to those near and close to me. Also, I deeply desire the help and cooperation, the assistance, the understanding, of those individuals whose wisdom, development, and experience are equal or greater than my own.
This statement sounds like a contract to me. A contract with the realms you were about to visit. A contract that says, I'm here based upon my own free will decision. This is important, and I'll explain it later. Next, you are introduced to the hemisync sound frequencies. Pink noise and white noise are used along with the frequencies as you learn how to basically put the left side of your brain to sleep and the right side of your brain to a heightened attentiveness. You are then instructed to create an energy balloon around you to protect you against conscious entities possessing lower energy levels which the participants might encounter in the event that he achieves an out-of-body state. So what are these conscious entities that we need protection against? We'll get to that shortly. Moving forward, you have now reached what is called Focus 10.
You will move now to Focus 10, the 10 state, where your mind is bright and awake and your body is calmly, deeply, and comfortably asleep. And to reach Focus 10, we will use the 10-point system of total relaxation. By the time we reach the count of 10, your body will be completely and totally relaxed in all parts, in all ways.
You're now ready to interact with dimensions beyond your physical reality. This state is called Focus 12. You're now ready to begin employing a series of specific tools and techniques which will enable you to manipulate your newly found expanded awareness and obtain practical, useful value for promoting self-discovery and personal growth. Some of these tools and techniques are as follows. Number 1, solving problems. By filling your expanded awareness with the problem and projecting it out into the universe, answers will come to you immediately or within a few days in the form of a sudden holistic perception where you simply know the answer and all its ramifications. Number 2, patterning. This involves concentrating on desired physical, emotional, or intellectual objectives and projecting it out into the universe, believing that the desired objectives have already been obtained. This practice is often referred to as manifesting, and it is the subject of the book, The Secret. Number 3, color breathing. This technique is a healing technique designed to use your expanded awareness of the Focus 12 state by balancing, revitalizing, and retuning bodily energy flows. For example, application of an intense blue light to an area of swelling in the body will lead to the relative rapid and easily observable reduction of the swelling. Number 4, energy bar tool.
Now you're going to construct your first energy tool. Visualize a spot of light, a small white spot of light, a glowing, sparkling spot of light. Now take this spot of light and stretch it out. Stretch it out. Stretch it out until it becomes a white line. Stretch it out until it becomes a white line. Make this spot of light into a short white line. Now make the white line into a bar, a straight, round bar of light. Make it into a straight, round bar of sparkling white light. Now look closely at this straight, white bar. Pick it up. Hold it. Feel the glowing energy. Feel the glowing energy. Move it around so that you can perceive it in various positions. I will wait while you do this. I will wait while you become familiar with your new tool.
Number 5, remote viewing. By using the energy bar tool and turning it into a whirling vortex, the user can send his imagination through it and search for new and illuminating insights from other distant locations. Number 6, the living body map. This technique provides amplification for application of the energy bar tool as a means of healing specific areas or systems in the human body and is used in concert with color breathing. Number 7, Focus 15 is the next level to be reached, which involves traveling into the past. While only 5% of those using the gateway process achieve Focus 15, the Monroe Institute affirms that with enough practice, anyone can eventually achieve Focus 15. In this state, a person can not only examine their own past, but also aspects of the past in which the individual himself has had no connection to whatsoever. Number 8, then there comes Focus 21, the last and most advanced of all the focus states, which is associated with discovering and exploring the future. This is the hardest state to achieve in the gateway process. Throughout all of this, the gateway process allows for the possibility of out-of-body movement. There are a number of ways this can be achieved, but the easiest seems to be listening to the Hemisync tapes while in REM sleep. The actual technique for separating from the body involves such simple maneuvers as rolling out of your body or standing up as if you're at attention or sliding out of either end of your body. Out-of-body movement was one of the main reasons the U.S. Army was interested in the gateway process, as it could be an invaluable reconnaissance tool, and the document indicates that there was much testing done to evaluate its effectiveness in that regard. The document then goes on to attempt to justify this practice as having nothing to do with any occult practices whatsoever, and goes on to explain that it was important to make sure that point was clearly established, for fear that some people will reject the gateway experience because it contradicts their religious beliefs and values. The conclusion portion of the document is fascinating. Basically, Lieutenant Colonel Wayne M. McDonald says, the gateway process works.
Now, with your protective and floating energy balloon formed all around you, and you are safe inside and floating inside, you now can control this energy balloon because it is yours. You have created it, so it is your resonant energy balloon. Now you are going to learn how to let it float upward. Let the safe and protective energy balloon, the floating balloon, float upward. Let it flow now. Let it get lighter and lighter, more and more, slowly and easily floating upward. Now hold it right there, right at that point, the point where you are now. Hold it and observe, perceive and observe as you float at this point in your resonant energy balloon, feeling safe and secure and calm. Observe now.
Furthermore, he outlines an approach to accelerate individuals through the program to establish an organization-wide exploitation of Gateway's potential. This includes developing teams of individuals for terrestrial information gathering trips using out-of-body movement, how to use teams to tune in to the same target on different planes or dimensions, being intellectually prepared to react to possible encounters with intelligent energy forms when space-time boundaries are exceeded, and arranging groups of Focus 12 state to unite their altered consciousness to build holographic patterns around sensitive areas to repulse possible out-of-body presences, and finally, to train advanced participants to manifest rapid progress for themselves and others who are coming up through the program. This is our government over 40 years ago, folks. What do you think has happened between then and now? What do you think is going on today? I'll tell you what I think. There is more to this universe, this reality that we call life, than meets the eye. For lack of a better term, I think the gateway process is yet another way to access the spiritual realm. Is that another dimension? Yes, I would assume it is. Now, the nature of this spiritual realm or other dimension It's not easy to define. I can only speculate that there are many other dimensions, and that in those dimensions there are intelligent beings whose existence is completely apart from our own. And there is certainly information and knowledge in these other dimensions. I've used this example many times on the Ryan Files. Jack Parsons of Jet Propulsion Laboratories, he was an open occultist. He admittedly took part in occult ritual practices and ceremonies for knowledge, the same knowledge that he used to create the fuel for the most powerful rockets ever made that were used by NASA. We talk about it often. The occult, the spiritual realm, and knowledge. Why is there always an effort to connect to the spiritual realm? From the use of ayahuasca to using Ouija boards and occult rituals, it's all about communicating with this other dimension. And now we know the military is using the gateway process as a tool to do so as well. And don't you find it dumbfounding that this document is made public? That any Tom, Dick, or Harry out there can get the gateway process on tapes or online for free, or a real copy for $20, and heck, you can listen to it right here on YouTube, once again, for free. Does that make any sense? Or is it all part of the plan? This declassified document mentions needing protection against certain entities. Who do you think these conscious entities are that we need protection against? How exactly would one become intellectually prepared to meet and deal with these entities? And why is it necessary to recite the gateway affirmation early on in the training? I believe the gateway affirmation is a legal binding agreement stating that you are making a free will decision to enter the spiritual realm. This matters greatly when our realm and the spiritual realm interact, and is laid out again and again in the Bible. There are rules and there are protections available to us all. That is, until you give them up by making a free will decision to enter into a contract with the spiritual realm and its inhabitants. And when that happens, all bets are off. And regarding those inhabitants, I believe the entities encountered there are either demons, the roaming spirits of the dead Nephilim, or fallen angels. Be smart, folks. This stuff is real. You can't hide your head in a hole and hope it goes away. There is a veil that is thinning between our reality and this other dimension. You can see it clearly when you stop to look around and see the world we live in. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up.
You will return now to full physical waking consciousness by the method you have learned, by simply thinking of the number 1 in your mind. And when you do this, you will become completely wide awake, both physically and mentally, fully refreshed and filled with new vitality. Begin your return to full physical waking consciousness. Begin it now.
Thank you so much for tuning in this week, friends. This episode was fascinating to research, and it only scratches the surface of the 29-page document. It gets deep real quick. You should check it out, especially regarding the nature of our reality. Now, if you're interested, I have included a download to this link in the description of this video of the original report. Check it out. It's interesting. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up. It certainly helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And as always, join our community by subscribing to this channel and by becoming an agent of the Ryan Files by joining me on Patreon. Your support is greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you. It's a busy week for me as I'll be in La Crosse, Wisconsin for the 27th annual Elvis Explosion. If you get a chance, come on out and join us, and be sure to check out this week's Friday night mic drop, which will be a late night edition live from the La Crosse Center with some of our awesome filers. Don't miss it. You folks are amazing. I love you all. Thank you so much. Stay curious out there, and I'll see you right here next week on The Ryan Files.
The Ryan Files.